Finding that first job in tech is so brutal because everywhere you look, all of the companies want you to already have experience, and you're just sitting there thinking, well, I would have experience if someone would give me a chance to start getting some experience and work for them. If nobody is willing to give you that chance, how are you supposed to get the experience? I've spoken before about contributing to open source projects to get this experience even before you can get a job. It remains my number one tip to anybody wondering how they can set themselves apart from everybody else who's also graduating a boot camp or just getting started in this industry. It remains my number one tip because it's so similar to a day in the life as a software engineer. You pick up a ticket, you familiarize yourself with the code base and where this change actually needs to be put into place. You likely have the opportunity to model your work after some of the patterns that are put into place in the project already. You will be working with some sort of version control, which is really important in a lot of jobs to be familiar with. And then besides all of those tech skills that I just mentioned, you're probably going to need to do a lot of communication, writing back and forth either within a PR or finding other teammates who are in charge of making decisions in the project and getting a feel for how decisions get made in the project in general. The biggest blocker I hear from a lot of junior devs, the reason why they don't get started in open source projects, is it can be so intimidating. It can be really overwhelming to just jump into a project. A lot of people who are new in the industry don't have experience getting familiar in a big code base that they haven't written themselves or haven't been part of the process of developing on their own terms. And the solution that I see for that problem is Civic Tech. What is Civic Tech, you ask? Civic Tech is basically technology that gets created to help people. A lot of Civic Tech can fall under the umbrella of helping governments make faster decisions or delivering services faster to the people. The companies developing these kinds of technologies can be for-profit or non-profit. It could be the government itself. And there are Civic Tech companies out there tackling all sorts of problems, no matter what your political views are. There's companies that help communities monitor the safety in their own neighborhoods. There are companies that are tracking or helping track coronavirus. Other companies still are focused on the environment and ways to protect our environment. The reason I like to suggest these types of organizations as maybe a first open source contribution is a lot of these different organizations have their own hack night where people actually gather either virtually or when it's possible in person, and they will work on this project together all at the same time for a few hours each week. If you are new to the industry and new to contributing to some other source code that you haven't created from scratch, Civic Tech Hack Nights are very likely to be one of the most welcoming environments you're going to find. The type of person that is going to show up to contribute at a Civic Hack Night is the type of person that is looking to give back to the community in some way. If you're able to go start searching and find a project that speaks to you and that you would be willing to contribute to, there's a really good chance that if you show up at that hack night, other people will be more than willing to walk you through how the app is set up, any sort of guidelines for contributing, and potentially even pair program with you for a while so that you kind of get the lay of the land and understand what is going on in this new source code. Some things like the architecture of the whole full stack, or maybe the way that folders are organized in the app, those are things that might not be so easy to Google and you probably don't know much about from the experiences that you have in your past. So having somebody there who can walk you through it will be helpful, and I believe that these types of meetups would be the types of places where people would be more than willing to help you figure out what's going on. From their perspective, if they help you get started, more than likely you will be able to keep coming back and keep contributing to the project. And the fact that they showed up in the first place for this sort of hack night means it's very likely something that they are interested in themselves. So having additional people working on this project is only going to benefit them as well. The dev community is full of people ready to pay it forward and help all of the newbies break into the industry and start innovating even more. I wholeheartedly believe that a Civic Hack Night is going to be a wonderful place for you to jump into this new project and improve your tech skills, but don't forget that you're also going to be networking while you're doing this. The people who show up to these Civic Hack Nights and help other newbies are probably going to be the people who already have a job as a software engineer somewhere. Working alongside somebody, actually working on the code, gives that person a really good idea of how great you are to work with as a coworker. So if they end up in a situation where they have an open spot on their team or somewhere in their company, they can totally vouch for you. And even if the other people working on the project aren't able to offer you a job immediately or in the future, you never know when the organization itself, like Hack for America or something, could bring you on as an engineer of that company. You never know if that's going to happen in a month, in 4 years from now, but it's in general a wonderful opportunity for networking that you shouldn't pass up. So the benefits don't even end at the networking. I see these sorts of civic technologies as being really great accountability and motivation to continue working on a project. Helping other people is something that really motivates me, and it's really great at taking my mind off of things if I'm starting to get down with my own troubles. I definitely remember slipping into a little bit of a self-pity party when I was looking for a job and just not having any luck and worried that maybe I would never find a job. But projects like these are really designed to solve a problem that exists in the world, and whenever I can get a problem very front of mind, right in my face, can't ignore it, I feel pretty compelled to solve that problem in whatever way I can. Civic Hack Nights are really the networking, tech skill building, accountability trifecta. You just can't go wrong with it, in my opinion.
But Brady, I still have concerns.
So you're new and you've never worked in legacy code before. You've never worked in this framework before. I get it. I hear ya. It's okay as you're beginning the project to set expectations, explain that you have no experience in some of this stuff. But keep in mind, everybody started somewhere. Most people can remember what it was like, what it felt like for them to get started in a new project like this for the very first time, especially the people who are willing to help you. At this point in your career, you probably are going to need to get comfortable with opening up and just admitting when you don't understand something. In my opinion, that's an invaluable strength. Please don't see that as a weakness. So you can either start getting comfortable being vulnerable and asking tons of questions now, or you can just keep going along and wait until you have a job. But just remember, it's likely that if you wait until you're working, the stakes are going to feel higher. You're getting paid to contribute to projects at that point. Either way, it's going to feel very intimidating. So I always push people to start doing that sooner rather than later. The longer you wait, the harder it's going to be, in my opinion. So if you are interested in looking into some resources so that you can start contributing to some sort of Civic Hack Night, check out the description below. I have listed things there. It is by no means an exhaustive list, but it's a starting point at least. If you are interested in hearing some other tips on how to stand out to recruiters and hiring managers, you should check out this video next.